Welcome everyone to another classy episode of Stace and Barry in the Morning. I am your host, Bartholomew Nugent, and aka Barry Nugent, aka the person who can never think of cool and interesting things to say to intro this podcast. And sitting on the long sofa next to me is...
It's me, Stacey. Hello, it's me, Stacey. Can I ask you a question, Barry?
Yeah, go on then.
Is your name genuinely short for Bartholomew, or?
So this is a whole Indiana Jones moment. So when you get to the end of Last Crusade and you find out that India was named after a dog, this is the moment. So we're on the horse, me and you, not on the same horse, two separate horses, and we've just got the Holy Grail and shit. And you ask me that question, and I turn around and say my actual proper name is Bartholomew Anthony Nugent.
Wow, that's a thing I don't think I ever knew. Or you must have said it and I've thought this is Barry doing his, like, I don't know, Bond villain stroking a cat sort of persona.
Or...
Wow. Oh, no,
it's completely
oh, look at that. I'm so gullibles. Oh, I'm so gullibles. That would be so cool if your name was Bartholomew. Not that you're not cool with the name Barry. It's just, when I was a kid, I used to tell everybody my name was Anastasia and it was Stacey for short, just because it sounded more important. I did also try and tell someone that I was a Russian princess in, like, witness protection, but they did not believe me. Can't think why.
Wow. That's some colourful lies.
In it, though. I was quite desperate to appear interesting when I was a kid.
Yeah, but I mean, some kids just go, I collect Matchbox cars or something like that. I'm a Russian princess, but don't tell anyone, otherwise the FBI might find me.
Yeah, there was one kid at school who was like, oh, I've got a season ticket to, like, Inter Milan, and we're all like, yeah, all right, Bob, of course you have. And I'm like, but I am secretly a Russian princess, though. Don't tell anyone. Don't tell anyone. Right. Yeah.
Well,
morning.
If you're still here under the weight of those massive, like, revelations that my real name isn't my real name and Stace is a Russian princess being chased by the FBI, we can continue with this episode.
Shall I let off the trumpets?
Let off some trumpets, babe.
Dance revolution.
I keep getting the impression when you're doing these trumpets that, like, these are just adverts that you're trying to sell to people or something.
Well, to be fair, that is an excerpt of a song called "The System Is Down" by Strong Bad. So I do feel a bit bad for stealing it, but I just wanted to say "Dance Revolution." Really,
it's all right. It's a great way to get around the YouTube security clauses.
What, by making terrible trumpet sounds in place of an actual song?
I don't think this is going to get triggered when I upload it to YouTube. I think
we'll be okay. Yeah,
I think we're okay. So what's the segment then?
We're going to do Pick of the Fortnight, right? And you're going to go first because I've got two, and I'm hoping you might also have one of them, so then I can choose the other.
Okay, so
let's see.
What if my Pick of the Fortnight was one of the picks of the fortnight you were going to pick? And what if my Pick of the Fortnight was based on the new Marvel show, What If, which is a really clunky intro into my...
See, now this is where it all falls apart because that wasn't either of mine. And now I'm like, God damn it, I have to actually make a decision.
But somewhere in the Marvel multiverse, there's another two of us, and I've picked one of those.
That's true. I'll just give one of them an honourable mention. I'll go toot, and then it'll be fine.
Okay.
So yours is What If then, B?
Yes. So my pick's What If, which is the new Marvel series. I've got to say, as a quick side, Marvel ain't off dropping out some stuff at the moment. It just suddenly hit me that, you know, we've had WandaVision, we've had, I was going to say Marvel and the Winter Soldier. That's not a thing. Falcon and the Winter Soldier. Then we've had Loki.
Yep.
And now we're on What If, and we've got Shang-Chi's about to come out. Then we've got the Eternals, and we've got Spider-Man.
Yeah.
I mean, they ain't really messing about all of a sudden. They seem, you know. But anyway, we're here to talk about What If. So What If is basically, it's kind of come out of the back of Loki, really, which I think is quite a clever move to sort of, because obviously Loki sort of kickstarted the multiverse. Spoilers. Isn't really. I mean, Doctor Strange is called Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. So, I mean, come on.
Yeah.
And what this deals with is the ramifications of that. So it's basically the Watcher, who's a character I really loved as a kid, because that would basically be me, or as I like to call him, the can't be asked man.
Yeah, that I'll just watch all this nightmarish stuff or awesome stuff, but I'm just gonna sit back and relax.
Yeah, but I'm not going to do anything about it. I'm just going to.
Let me just get some popcorn. Just one moment.
Pretty much that's me. It's pretty much dumpster fire watching. That's what the Watcher does. So we've had 3 episodes so far. The first was what if Steve Rogers didn't become Captain America? And the next one was what if T'Challa became Star-Lord? And the one that I'm kind of picking, because it's the one I watched today, is what if Earth's Mightiest Avengers didn't come to pass? That's not what it's actually called, but it's something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And I've got to say, I'm really enjoying this series. I love the animation. I love the fact that even though it's not every single person doing their own voice, a good chunk of them are doing their own voices.
Yeah.
And even the ones that aren't, the voice actors that they've got are pretty damn close.
Mm.
And I just love today's one because it was just an alternative take on the Avengers. And then basically what if the Avengers didn't happen? And the way they kind of show that makes perfect sense.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you've seen episode 3 yet.
I haven't seen episode 2 yet because I'm a terrible human being.
Oh, okay. I won't say any more about episode 3. I don't want to give any spoilers away. But I'm really enjoying this series. I've got to say I'm really enjoying. I'm a sucker for animated stuff anyway, especially like Marvel. Well, I prefer the DC animated stuff, but Marvel are coming up close with this one now because it's just cracking. The Captain Carter one was just blinding, but this one is. No, Captain Carter is still my fave because it's pulp adventure.
Mm-hmm.
But this one,
I had a feeling you would like it when
so good.
when I watched it.
Yeah, so good. So yeah, that's my pick, and I'm looking forward to. I've seen a clip of next week's one, and I'm really looking forward to that one. That's a Doctor Strange one.
Ah, okay. Well, that's interesting. Yeah, I like not to pee on your chips. I didn't really like the first episode. That's why I haven't watched the other 2 yet, because I just haven't really had the gumption to. But I like the idea of it, if that makes sense. I think the problem for me is that I think I was expecting too much from the Peggy one that I didn't get, which is entirely on my shoulders. So yeah, I definitely like the idea of it, and I will watch them eventually, but. Yeah, I am intrigued by the idea of a Doctor Strange one, though, because I'm just very excited about Marvel things since the Spider-Man trailer dropped the other day.
Yeah. I mean, I think, sort of going back to the Peggy one, I really enjoyed it. Sue thought it was okay, but she's kind of now said you can watch them. So that's great. So much in my own. I really enjoyed the Captain Carter one. I would have loved to have seen it be longer or... for it to be given a series, because I kind of felt just as it kind of got going, it was over. If that makes sense.
Yeah, Rich and I had a chat about it afterwards, and I had 2 problems with it. The first one is that it felt too similar to Captain America: The First Avenger, so it didn't really feel like it was worth it. If that makes you know this, Captain America: First Avenger is my least favourite Marvel movie for various reasons. But I feel like if you enjoyed that film, you probably enjoyed this because it was like that, but with an awesome woman at the front of it. But I also had a little teeny-weeny problem with the fact that they couldn't just let Peggy have it. Like, they still had to, spoilers, put Steve in like an Iron Man suit or whatever, and he still had to be a hero. And it's like, just let Peggy be the boss-ass bitch that she is. God! And I was getting a bit annoyed. So that's what I mean. I think my expectation of it being like, oh, imagine if they got First Avenger and did it better. But they did it just sort of the same, just with a really beefy lady at the front of it, which, I'm not against beefy Hayley Atwell, I've got to say. I was enjoying that quite a lot. But yeah, like I said, I will eventually get to the rest of them, but I just think I needed to like get that first one out of my system, I suppose.
I'd be. I know, obviously, we disagree because I really liked it, but I understand
Yeah.
why. I get what you mean because you are effectively getting the same story.
And not even as good because it's so much shorter. It's like they've just crammed in like a 2-hour movie or however long it is into like 20 minutes. Like, what?
Which is why I think A, I think she'll pop up again, and B, like you said, I wish it was longer. But I'd be interested to see what you think when you watch the next two.
Yeah.
Especially like Charlie's the Star-Lord, because it's not Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah.
Get what I mean?
Okay, that's good.
It's not hitting those. Yes, it's kind of a group of collection of people, but it's kind of it's not hitting the same story beats. And I think the Avengers one, it's hitting little touchdowns. Again, I don't think it's hitting the same story beats in the same way. Whereas I think you're right. I think the Captain Carter one was literally First Avenger. Here's the best bits of the First Avenger, but it's with Peggy Carter.
Yeah.
So yeah. Check out the second one and see what you think.
I will. I definitely will. I'll report back. I have decided on my pick of the fortnight. So my honourable mention is going to go to the Suicide Squad. Which I thought was very funny, and I love Harley Quinn, and I adore King Shark, but I thought it was a teeny bit too on the gory side for me, which is why my actual pick of the fortnight is probably not going to make any sense to anybody because it's a horror movie it's got some fairly gory bits. Oh, I'm such a twat. Have you heard of the movie Censor?
For some reason, the title rings a bell, but I have no concept of what it's about.
Okay, well, it's a new movie by a lady director called Prano Bailey Bond, is I think how you pronounce it, and I'm very sorry if it's not. It is about a woman who works for, like, they don't say it, but it's ostensibly the BBFC, so it's like she works as a censor for horror movies in like a sort of filmy reviewing capacity. I don't think they're allowed to say BBFC, but I think that's the only one that exists in Britain, so it kind of has to be them, doesn't it?
Yeah.
So her job is to watch awful films and give them ratings or give the director advice on what they can cut to get a lower rating or whatever. And it's it is awesome. It's super atmospheric. I don't want to say too much more about what the plot is because I think even though a lot of the stuff that I could potentially say you do find out fairly early in the movie, so it's not like a massive spoiler, I do think not knowing that beforehand, because when Rich was like, oh, we're watching Censor, I was like, okay, I've never even heard of this, but I'll watch it, I guess, because it was totally new to me and I didn't know these particular things. Like, I learnt them as you were watching the film. I think that helps, so I don't want to say anything more. And I will say, don't go and read the official blurb for it either, because the official blurb is like a fucking straight-up whole paragraph that tells you half of the fucking film. I'm like, chill out, blurb. You don't need that much info. But yeah, so it's basically about this censor who sort of is harbouring some guilt from something that happened in her past, and that's why she does what she does. And it's just like a sort of fairly slow burn, scary film that towards the end just takes like a real like, what am I looking at kind of turn. And it really impressed me. It's like a super stylish movie. The sound in it, it's got one of those soundtracks that a lot of scary movies are doing at the moment, where it's just kind of like oppressive kind of sounds. Where you think that's not a good soundtrack, but then you realise that you've felt really tense the whole movie. You're like, oh, actually, yeah, it really works. It's just cracking. If you like horror films and if you like films about the process of films as well, if that makes sense. Because even though this isn't like necessarily it's not like a documentary on censors, but it's quite interesting to see like that sort of side of it as well. And I think, yeah, it's absolutely cracking movie. It's one of those ones where it finished and I was just like, I don't know what I just saw, but I'm amazed by it. So yeah, give Censor a watch, lads. It's good.
Okay.
Thumbs up for Slurpees.
I might do that, but no, my fear threshold is always quite low. So we'll see. If Sue stumbles across it, then I'll probably end up having to watch it.
See, this is why I think me and Rich are kind of perfect in the sense that, like, we're both sort of like, we are both totally fine with gore as long as it doesn't involve an eyeball. Stick anything near an eyeball and I'm like, I don't want to see it. I'm upset by this.
To be fair, I think most people are not fans of the eyeball route.
Yeah, I think a horror movie, if it goes for the eyeball, I'm like, you are just trying to make me do a sick, aren't you, film?
I'm out.
Yeah, I'm out too. But anyway, yeah, Censor. It's a good film.
Cool. Okay. I thought you might have picked the Spider-Man trailer as your good week.
I was very close. I've watched it like 1,001 times.
So quickly, before we, because I've only watched it once, actually, before we move on to musical musings, what did you think of the Spider-Man trailer? I'm guessing I know what you thought of it.
Oh, yeah, I loved it. One of the things I really love about it is the fact that it doesn't, like, go the whole hog on the multiverse part of it. Because I was really worried that we'd have a trailer and it'd be like, here's Alfred Molina, here's, what's his name, Willem Dafoe, here's all the different Spider-Mens, and you'd just be like, oh, well, there's nothing for me to get excited about now. But instead it was like, ooh, here's some, like, sneaky peeks. Like, clearly a lot of the trailer was, like, towards the start of the film where Peter's dealing with, like, the aftermath of everybody knowing that he's Spider-Man. And there's such, like, small amounts of, like, obviously what happens after that I was like, okay, I'm not watching another trailer for this now. I don't care if, like, 7 more come out and everybody thinks they're the best trailers in the world. I don't want to see any more of this now because I want to, like, when I see the film, if, other Spideys and other villains appear, I want to shit myself at the cinema. With excitement. I don't want to be like, oh yeah, that was in trailer 4 or whatever. But yeah, I really like the look of it. I think the thing that really interested me is that the trailer gave the impression that it's this that kicks off the multiverse, because I think it was you I was talking to on another episode of Stace and Barry where I was saying that I was worried about people who hadn't watched Loki, because I think with WandaVision, as much as it's probably my favourite of the 3 shows that have, like, been out, but, like, as much as it was amazing, like, at the end of it, she's in sort of the same place she was at the start, aside from having a new costume. So like, if you didn't watch that, you wouldn't really have missed many beats of Wanda's story necessarily, or that would be important to the movie universe, at least, I don't think. And the same with Falcon and Winter Soldier. Like, as much as I thought that was a really important show and really good, like, he starts, Sam is Cap at the start of that and he's Cap at the end of it. So, again, if you've missed that, you're not going to be, like, surprised, like, hold on, when did Falcon become Cap? Like, that.
Yeah,
it wouldn't bamboozle you at all.
Actually.
Whereas with Loki, I was like, how are they going to... Like, this is big.
Yeah.
Like, this is a big thing that they're doing. So I do find it quite interesting to see in this trailer how it sort of almost looks like it's that's the thing that kicks things off. So, like, I'd be intrigued to see how that meshes.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I'm very excited. Very excited. Especially for Christmas Spider-Man. I'm like, shit, I can go and see it at Christmas. Ah! Merry Christmas to me.
Yeah, now I'm less excited about the Spider-Man thing, but I am excited about the fact Doctor Strange is in it. And I've enjoyed these, but I think my thing with the Spider-Man films is the fact there's Spider-Man films. I do like Tom Holland as Spidey. I think he's doing a very good turn as Spidey. Mm-hmm. And I wasn't sure how he would work with Doctor Strange, but actually the banter's pretty good.
Yeah.
So I'm really looking forward to it.
So I'm very excited. Very excited.
But yeah, you're right. I'm getting the sense that nothing is getting left on the cutting room floor with the Marvel shows. And even the what if stuff, which I think is easy to dismiss because it's animated. Not me, because to me animated is just as good as live action.
Oh yeah, same.
So, but I think it's easy to dismiss that as, oh, this is a nice little side thing, and it's not going to really, have anything to do with it and stuff like that. But yeah. And if nothing else, you see, it's introduced the Watcher, the concept of the Watcher.
Yeah.
who I know there was this whole, I know he was in one of the post-credit scenes with like Stan Lee or something.
Oh, he was, wasn't he?
Yeah.
I'd entirely forgotten that.
But I think the fact that they've kind of introduced that character and they've got Jeffrey Wright voicing him, you know, I'm not sure if he might not pop up in the films.
Yeah. That'd be very intriguing.
Yeah.
Just doing nothing.
with a packet of Doritos like he's watching a dumpster fire.
Oh, mate.
Can't be asked, man.
Yeah. I mean, it does sound great to, like, not, like, watch everybody's problems, but just, like, watch everything happen and have, like, zero consequences, and you're just like, let's get a beer.
Just go into the fridge. Anyone want anything? Tell me what happens when I get back.
Oh, shit, I need a poo, but I don't want to miss any of this.
Yeah. This is the Thanos bit, isn't it? Oh kicks off now, proper. Right then, should we do musical musings quickly and then get the fudge out of here?
Let's do that, bro. That was a very bum note to end on, but I'm leaving it like it is.
Own it.
Oh, I shall. Barry,
Stace.
what's been tootling in your ears of late?
What's been tootling in my ears? So what's been tootling in my ears? So this album that I have picked is one of my go-tos actually, and I'd completely forgotten about it. So this is what happens every sort of year or something. I remember it. Oh, and I stick it in my earlobes. But it comes from a movie that is just, there's no other way to describe it other than shit. You could now people can sort of go, I know, but it's fun shit, and yes, I get all of that, you know, and you can sit with a beer and laugh at it, but it's still shit. So, but the soundtrack is glorious. So, the soundtrack is by John Barry.
Okay.
John
Bartholomew.
From John Bartholomew. And the film is called Starcrash. Have you heard of it?
I have not, no.
Right. So, so basically, Starcrash came out in 1978. It was directed and co-written by an Italian filmmaker, Luigi Cozzi. Among some of the people who were in it are Caroline Munro, who used to be in some of the old Hammer films.
Oh, okay.
Christopher Plummer, who obviously was desperate for a paycheck. And a young David Hasselhoff.
Nice.
And basically, they were trying to sort of cash in on Star Wars.
Right.
Obviously, by cash in, I mean there obviously wasn't a lot of all the budget probably went on paying Christopher Plummer, who did it for like a couple of scenes. He's really good in the little scenes he's in because he can act. You know what I mean? But the film's so it's basically it's just a Star Wars film, and it's awful. I mean, it is awful. And it's worth watching because it is awful. But the soundtrack, like I said, is wicked. If you listen, if I just played you the soundtrack, you'd be like, oh wow, I've got to go and see this film. But no.
And then you go and see it and you're like, oh no, I wish I'd just kept it in my imagination.
Yeah. So the track I've picked is the main theme from Starcrash. I feel that Starcrash is a very very telling title.
Sounds like a total car crash of a movie. It sounds wonderful.
Can I tell you the evil guy is called the evil Count Zarf Arn. I probably said that wrong, but
that's amazing. That sounds so terrible. I might need to see it.
I mean, to be fair, you do. I mean, I'm looking at Wikipedia and say it's considered a cult classic. Well,
is it considered a cult joke?
Yeah. I don't know about classic. Cult, yeah, classic. It's the fact that Christopher Plummer's character is just called. There's a line where it says they're contacted holographically by the Emperor of the Galaxy. That's his name.
He doesn't even get an actual name. Amazing.
It's just the Emperor of the Galaxy.
Perfect.
Yeah. Anyway, your pick.
Nice. Well, my pick is by I'm sure we've both chosen music by him before. It's a good old friend of the show, Michael Giacchino.
Oh, yes.
Because a couple of weeks ago, my mum came to visit because we're allowed to have people in our house now, which is lovely. And as it transpired, she'd never seen Spider-Man Homecoming before, even though she's seen nearly all of the other Marvel movies. And I was like, well, you're an idiot. So we made her watch it. Thankfully, she thought it was good and I didn't have to disown her, even though she hates Michael Keaton for reasons I can't explain. What a weird lady. But yeah, so obviously having watched that again, I was sort of reminded of how great the soundtrack for that film is. So I picked a piece of music called Monumental Meltdown, which is the bit of music from the scene where he has to climb up the outside of the Washington Monument and smash through a teeny-weeny window and save his mates in a lift. And it's very dramatic and exciting and good. And yeah, it's just a really good piece of music. It's one of those ones as well, which the thing I hadn't noticed until I listened to it this time round, which I don't quite understand because I've listened to these soundtracks like a bajillion times, is that the theme that Giacchino uses for Spider-Man, I can't say Spider-Man theme because when I say that, people think Spider-Man, just whatever, and that's not the theme I mean. I mean the one that goes like, blah, 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 blah. Yeah, I didn't realise that that's a waltz. Like, what a dickhead. It's a waltz. It's in like a 3/3 time, and I'd never noticed that before. And this particular piece of music, sort of every time he does something amazing in the scene, it sort of transforms into like a really triumphant version of that, and it's really seamless how it goes from like the two different time sequences, and it just really impressed me. But as a sort of honourable mention as well, I also want to say, did you know that Michael Giacchino had a solo-ish album out last year?
No.
Okay, so it's an album that he did with an orchestra that is sort of half audio drama, half amazing sort of lounge jazz orchestral stuff. And it is about an alien who comes to Earth and is like trying to escape some shit on her planet, and he's realising that Earth's a bit weird and all in it. And it's such a weird album, but it's so great. So yeah, if you fancy listening to like some really cool jazzy music and then occasionally a lady talking about Earth as though she's never seen it before, so it's the album for you, lads.
Do you know what it's called?
Travelogue, I think. It's by Michael Giacchino and the Novella something orchestra. I didn't write it down because I'm an idiot.
That's all right. It's enough to be going on with.
I think you'll figure it out.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's very good. So yeah. Music, baby. Oh, I'm really sweaty.
Okay.
I didn't think it would get this hot in this room at this sort of time of day, but because all the windows are shut and all the doors are shut because I'm recording and my neighbours are being noisy, it has got quite warm.
Oh.
Nobody needed to know.
and nobody shall know.
A Stace sweat update is what you all just missed out on, hopefully, because Barry's edited it out.
Stace sweat update.
Yeah, I'm not going to actually do another one.
Yeah, defeats the whole purpose of editing.
In it though, hey, that was episode 12, we think, of series 3 of Stace and Barry in the morning. We should pay more attention to what we're doing. Give us a tweet at Stacey's Parlour or at Geek Syndicate, or send us an email to staceandbarry@gmail.com, or write a message on a paper plane and throw it and hope it gets to us. You never know. If you're near Birmingham or Northampton, it might.
Yeah.
It might just, but don't do it in the rain. That would be foolish. And have a lovely, flipping, fabulous Saturday / whenever you happen to listen to this. We love you. Bye. I ran out of steam.
Bye all, and remember, Stace is not a Russian princess if the FBI are listening to this recording.
Absolutely not.